Dr. Stein, thanks so much for joining us. Let me just start off by asking you why you're running for president.
Well, in short, the American people are in crisis, losing our jobs, decent wages, homes, affordable health care, and higher education. Our civil liberties are under attack, and the climate is melting down. Things are getting worse, not better. We're accelerating in the wrong direction under both political parties. Neither Mitt Romney nor Barack Obama are offering anything new. It's basically more of the same, or go back to George Bush and keep your fingers crossed.
So what I'd like to do is, obviously you and the other non-Republican and Democratic candidates weren't allowed to be at the debates, won't be at the debates. So I'd like to use this time to give you a chance to respond to the major issues that were brought up in the first presidential debate. There were basically 5 of them. And the first one is job creation. What will you do differently than the main 2 candidates to create jobs?
Well, the main 2 candidates are basically talking about more of the same, more tax breaks for the so-called job creators to keep creating jobs in China and India, more deregulation of business, including Wall Street, and more dirty energy. So we're talking about a Green New Deal for America. Let's use a system that actually works, that got us out of the Great Depression, the New Deal that created a lot of jobs by doing it directly, not by providing tax breaks. We're calling for 25 million jobs in the green economy that can put a halt to climate change and make wars for oil obsolete.
Issue 2, deficit. What would you do differently than the major candidates to address the deficit?
We would stop, first and foremost, driving us into deficit. So what's gotten us into deficit? It's trillions of dollars that are being squandered on wars for oil that we don't need, on tax breaks for the wealthy, and on Wall Street bailouts that continue even now. So we need to put a halt to that bleeding into Wall Street. We need to let the banks break up. We need to, in fact, break them up, create the public banks that we need that can provide the money and make the loans. And downsizing, right-sizing the military budget. The military has basically doubled in size over the last 10 or 11 years. We are not twice as secure. In fact, we're seeing a lot of blowback now across the Middle East from this tough guy approach to international relations.
Issue 3, entitlements, one of the big drivers of that deficit. Both Obama and Romney say for current retirees or those that will be retiring in the next 10 years or so, not much change, but maybe some change for younger Americans. Where do you stand on what we should do with entitlements?
Well, in fact, let's recognize that Social Security is money which is owed to the people who paid into the Social Security Trust Fund. So we need to maintain Social Security and, in fact, raise the cap on the payroll tax so that the very wealthy are paying in proportionately. That's all the fixing that Social Security needs. Medicare, it's important to realize Medicare is working. Medicare is working very well. It was the boondoggle inserted into it by George Bush, Medicare Part D, that essentially created an unlimited payout scheme for pharmaceutical companies. By moving to Medicare for all, we reduced that 30% overhead for bureaucracy down to merely 2 or 3%. That's how we can expand Medicare to cover everyone as a human right, and in fact save trillions of dollars by moving to an efficient insurance system.
Okay, 5th and final topic, the role of government. Governor Romney thinks the federal government needs to step back and play a smaller role. Obama advocates for more of a federal role. Where does the Green Party stand?
Well, what they don't tell you is that they both advocate control by large corporations and Wall Street in the form of campaign contributions and lobbyists and the many ways in which the deep pockets win the day and buy their way into the legislative agenda, regulatory appointments, and they in fact are writing the bills. So we're calling for actually a government that truly serves people, a government that gets the big money out and lets the people back in.
Last thing quickly, other than the topics we just discussed, what one thing do you think is most important do you want voters thinking about?
I think it's really important for us to go into this election recognizing the power that we have as voters, and I mean as independent voters, because the propaganda machine is working 24/7 to tell you that there are only two choices on the ballot. But there are, in fact, more than two choices. And my campaign does not take corporate money. We represent a voice for everyday people and a choice that's not been bought and paid for by Wall Street.
Dr. Jill Stein, Green Party nominee for president, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you. Great talking with you.